Hi, this is Vidya, and you're listening to the Chasing Dreams podcast with Aimee J.
Welcome to Chasing Dreams podcast with Aimee J. Aimee believes that realizing a life without regrets is achieved by taking chances, chasing your dreams, making moves, and overcoming your doubts. The Chasing Dreams podcast will help you overcome life's obstacles, believe in your potential, and inspire you to face your fears. And now here's the woman who is passionately pursuing her dreams, Aimee J.
Hey Dream Chasers, this is Aimee J, and thank you so much for tuning in to episode 57 of Chasing Dreams. Guys, we have had so many different people on the show, 57 different guests. Is that actually true? My sisters don't count. And one's repeated. Well, over 50 guests, that's fair to say. We had over 50 guests, all of them just as cool as the one before them. And this guest is no different. She is Vidya Vox. She's an Indian-born American, born in Chennai, and she grew up in Virginia. And get this, she is a singer-songwriter with music videos on YouTube. I mean, she learned Carnatic classical music since she was a young girl, and she studied psychology at George Washington University. So the neat thing is, while she was at GW, she started making YouTube videos, which opened doors she never dreamed of. And so this is kind of cool because she's been traveling around the world and performing at amazing venues, including the White House. Her YouTube channel has over 30 million views today, and she's posting Bollywood and Western pop mashups on her YouTube channel. So all the links are going to be on the show notes. You guys definitely have to go check that out because I actually put, I want to say my top four video links you guys should check out, which, are, I think, probably her highest rated ones. Maybe not. I mean, after you guys listen, it'll probably change, but amazing videos. She's very talented, and she's taken a break and come onto the show to share her story about her dream chase. And Vidya, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Aimee. It's nice to be here.
You are so kind to come here after such a busy, you've been traveling. I mean, where are you?
I'm now in LA. I'm based out of here now as of a few months ago. Woohoo! California resident. I'm here right now. I'm just home for the next couple of weeks. Well, week, working on some music.
So as a former DMV resident and myself as well, I'm not sure I can woot your California move, but it is an amazing state, guys. Don't go flaming me for anything. It is an amazing state and probably very good for you, given that the music industry is huge out there, right?
Yeah, it is. And there are also so many amazing musicians here and filmmakers and directors and sort of just like everyone kind of doing their thing. And yeah, I mean, it's very receptive to new things and new sort of like trends and underground, things that are coming up, which is, something that I absolutely love about LA culture, especially like in the arts kind of scene. So yeah, no, I love it here so far. We'll see how it goes.
So you've traveled, done a number of different places, right? What is the most interesting place you have performed in? So not just visited, but performed.
This is a tough one. I actually love like each country or place that I perform in for their specific reasons. But I think like probably the coolest overall would probably be Mauritius. I went there in April and May, and it was one of the coolest experiences because I sort of didn't even know what to expect when I got there. But when I got there, like on the radio and like we walked into some random store or like a mall and like my mashups would be playing like randomly. And it was the coolest thing ever because I don't know, like it's like a little island, in the middle of the Indian Ocean and they're like, big fans there. And it was like really beautiful people. And obviously it's like gorgeous island and has like the most beautiful beaches that I've ever seen. So yeah, definitely cool. And it was like performed there and such a great energy. So I really loved it there.
Was that your first time hearing the music in a store as you're walking through?
Yes, it was, because, I don't like, it's obviously like the mashups. You don't really hear them like, or American radio or anything. Well, not yet anyway. So yeah, because it's like a very, I don't know, it's very, sort of unique because it's like a lot of Indian songs, but also, like Western pop songs. So it's like, I think Mauritius is like a really like sort of cool place because it has a lot of people of Indian origin, but who are actually like first and second generation Mauritians. Yeah. So that was a really cool experience. And I totally freaked out. I was like, this is amazing. And I did not know that was coming at all.
I love that positivity because that just kind of cemented what you were doing. And also because you're right. I mean, it may be one day that we hear more Bollywood Western pop mashups or even your originals. I mean, there was a big push after Slumdog Millionaire when the music from that movie came out. So you never know, it'll happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's, one of the coolest things about LA culture in general too. I feel like, they support, different things. It doesn't have to be mainstream pop, or you can definitely do your thing and still be, appreciated as an artist. That's what I've been finding so far. And that's cool. Yeah. Hopefully we can hear some more of that on the radio and, see it more places. Definitely need more South Asian representation for sure.
No doubt South Indians represent.
Yes.
So I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to rewind your life back. You grew up in Virginia. It doesn't have as large of an Indian population as, say, Philadelphia or New York or Dallas, right? Mm-hmm. But you learned classical music there.
I did. One of sort of like the legends of Carnatic music, her brother lived in Maryland. So, which is like, I lived in Northern Virginia. So, it's like really easy to get back and forth, to Maryland. So yeah, he lived in Maryland. And so my sister and I actually learned, South Indian classical music from him since we were like 9. But we had started, when I lived in India before that. So I was born in Chennai and I lived in like Mumbai and Chennai till I was about 9. And so we learned like over there as well. I think I started learning when I was 5, but then we kept moving around a lot. So when we finally moved here to Northern Virginia, he basically had been my teacher since then, till about high school. Yeah.
So you're talking about 9 years old, and even earlier than that, it was music or singing something you always wanted to do?
I don't know if it was something that I've always wanted to do, to be honest. I think that, it's a little bit like complicated. I think that because as, Indian parents tend to just, or parents in general, they just like put you in all these different classes when you're a kid. So I learned like when I was, so I started music when I was 5, and I also was in dance, like classical dance for a bit, but then that sort of fell away because I was more interested in music. But, once I became older, academics took over. So, when I went to George Washington, I completely stopped learning actually, music because it was just really tough to keep up everything. And I really thought music could be a thing until I collaborated with Shankar Tucker, on YouTube. Like, I think that was a junior year of college. And that was like really eye-opening because, it's very difficult, just in general, like without YouTube or social media to just get in front of a record label or whatever, or like do playback or any of those things unless you already have those connections or like you've cemented some connections, or there has to be like a way. And I feel like YouTube is amazing in that way where you can, you can just share your music with people all over the world and you don't need those kinds of connections, or, you can just do your thing and like show it to people, which is awesome, and share it with everyone. And so that's when I like realized like, oh my God, music can be a thing. And so I graduated, and then I moved to Bombay for on and off for about 2 years. And and then I like restarted learning music, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I started my channel, I want to say last April. So, and it's been about a little bit over a year now.
That's a crazy fast-paced journey right there that you just mentioned. So
yeah, I definitely it sort of gave you the nutshell, but it was definitely it was pretty long. Yeah.
Well, yeah, right. I'm sure there were details in between, but the fact that, we're talking probably a quick turnaround before you even thought music could be a thing, though. What was going to be your thing?
I was studying to be a doctor. I majored in psychology and I did biology as well. And yeah, I was studying for my MCATs. Even after I graduated, I was still studying for my MCATs. And about 6 months to 8 months after I graduated, I was like, oh no, I can't do this. Because I just felt like you have one shot, to pursue your dream. And I feel like this is my one shot. And if it doesn't work out, I'm sure, who knows. But I feel like you can't have a backup plan. That's the thing I've learned is I don't know, I just have to go for it. And that's why I was like, okay, I'm going to move to India. My mom just definitely when I told her, she looked like me as if I had 10 heads. But then I was like, Mom, I have a plan. I need to go back to learn. Cause at that point it had been 4 or 5 years since I had stopped learning and that's sort of out of touch. So I went back to the basics and built it up from there. So yeah, no, it's been good so far. So, and I'm working on some original stuff now. So we'll see where it goes.
So I'm glad you talked about your mom. Was support an issue? Did that scare you? Because as Indian-born American who's chasing a dream that's not typical, right? Because previously when you're taking your MCATs, it's a similar story for many. And if that's your story, there's nothing wrong with it, if that's what you want to do. But for you, Vidya, to go from med school, potential doctor, solid, confident, maybe consistent career that, you could rely on to, hey, I'm going to try this music thing. In fact, I'm going to go to India and pick it back up, see what happens, take a shot in the dark there. My parents would probably freak out and then get to be supportive. You mentioned your mom looked at you like you were crazy. Was that a difficult thing for you to face?
It definitely was. I think that, but I was very scared about sort of the entire situation. I had crazy anxiety attacks, just even thinking about it, I'd just totally break down. But I think that sort of my love for it and my fire for it, I was like, no, I just have to do it. And so that sort of pummeled me forward, I feel like. And I told my mom and she was, and my grandmother, they were actually pretty supportive. I mean, they were skeptical at first for sure. They were supportive, but skeptical. They were like, where is this going? Especially if you're broke musician, or trying to learn music. And she's like, how are you going to support yourself? All those questions. So yeah, no, it was definitely difficult. It was probably one of the toughest decisions I've made, actually. And especially because all my friends are now doctors. They actually all just graduated from med school, a couple last year. So they're all residents now and stuff. So yeah, it was definitely difficult. Also telling friends and family just this is what I'm going to do. And they're like, okay, good for you. But then, they're just sort of watching from the sidelines to see how it goes.
Sure. All eyes are on you because you're pioneering something, right?
Right. And they just didn't, I feel no one really understood it until I started my YouTube channel though. I feel when I was in India, I feel I was not alone, but I definitely was trying to I knew my plan and I just wanted to do it. I wanted to do mashups and I've always sort of felt that connection to it, because, growing up, I'd be singing bhajans and Carnatic kritis at home. But then going to school, I'd be listening to Usher and Destiny's Child and Shakira. So it always felt two separate worlds for me. And I always try and, I'd be what is the happy place of the two worlds meaning? And I feel mashups was that thing. And I knew I wanted to do that. But before that, I had to start from the beginning a little bit.
So if you don't mind me asking, if your support system had said no, if they had withdrawn and took a step back, because it is a scary adventure that you're essentially on right now, and, to invest themselves in their emotional and, it's a lot to ask of them also because, it's a leap of faith you're essentially going on. Did you ever give yourself Or did you ever consider not going forward if they said no?
I don't think so, to be honest. Like I at that point, like by the time I told my mom and like grandma, you know, like what I was going to do, I had already made up my mind that I was going to do it regardless of what you say, kind of thing. You know, Shankar has actually been like super supportive as well. And he like produces all the videos and the songs, with me. And no, honestly, like, I feel like the three of them and obviously my sister. So if I feel like they sort of like got it because you know, they could see that I really wanted to do it. And, I mean, I feel like a lot of times I was just like, you know, no, but they like knew I wanted to do it, but they didn't get exactly what I was doing until like last year. So it was good. So right now they can't complain.
There's no set manual for what you're doing currently. And you had mentioned that Shankar Thakur had helped you, or you know, you weren't his first or one of your, I guess, your first exposure to music videos and such. And he's in it. He's involved. I mean, he's had a number of beautiful videos just as well on his channel, which
Absolutely.
Link also on the show notes page, guys. You can check it out there. But he was also kind of sort of a pioneer in the sense of what he was doing. Were you nervous? I mean, because there's no flight plan, essentially.
Right. No, there isn't. And actually, Shankar he's so brilliant, because he taught himself. So it's like born out of necessity, to be honest. Like, you know, we didn't have budgets to like make videos. Like he didn't, when he started specifically, like he had like no training in video and had like no budget to like hire people or anything. So he sort of had to like learn everything himself. So he like taught himself like Logic, and he taught himself how to edit videos and, you know, shoot videos and like direct them and things like that. And sort of, I mean, you could see sort of like the progression, like if you watch his first video or my first video, and then like a little bit, you know, they've gotten a little bit better as time has gone on. And I think like, and that's like the great thing. I feel like you just like sort of figure it out as you go, as long as the focus is the music, because I feel like everything else falls into place if you are like focused on the art. I don't know, as corny as that sounds, I've like really found that to be true, to be honest. I think that a lot of people get sidetracked with like this or that, or like, you know, I feel like it's easy to get sidetracked, but it's important that it's about your music and it's about you and you sharing a piece of yourself with your audience or whoever's listening. And I feel like if you have that sort of straightened out, I feel like everything else falls in place. You figure everything else out. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. So digging a little deeper as to what you're saying there. So you knew you wanted to do mashups. You went back to Bombay and you went back to the basics, so to speak, right? It could be it could be a Disney movie if you like. And right, you have the montage of you going and learning all this stuff. And then, you know, is it kind of a step-by-step process? Hey, I need this. Okay. How do I do that? I want to do this. There's Google. Let me see if I can figure that out.
Right.
Maybe Shankar has done it. Is that the kind of thing you've been and maybe still are doing?
Absolutely. Yeah. I just like the last week tried to learn Adobe Premiere Pro, on how to edit on Adobe. I mean, I literally went to the Adobe website and took their tutorial. So my last video is like edited on Adobe, but like, I think that, yeah, I'm still trying to do that. I think that, you know, I know that a certain skill level is required in terms of, you know, like putting in time for your art and practicing, isn't like magic 10,000 hours or something until you're a master or something like that. But, you know, I think the reason I felt like I needed to go back to basics and but like start relearning everything is because, you know, you really got to train for, you know, like people train for years and years and decades, and, you know, and they still always feel like they don't know enough, you know, and that's sort of like, and I feel like I'm still learning. I still take classes, like weekly lessons, and, you know, do all that. So it's like a lot of things going on at once. But yeah, definitely like to be able to even sing in like, you know, sing on key and things like that. Like those are such basic skills, but they're so important, and they're actually difficult to hone in if you don't practice every day. So yeah, you got to put in time. You got to do the work. So there's no shortcut to that for sure.
So I told you offline that I was familiar and am familiar with what you've done. You have wonderful videos. millions of hits on a number of them, but you actually are the first guest who was requested by someone who reached out and said, hey, I would love to hear Vidya's story. And so my friend who had made the request, she wants to remain anonymous, at least on the audio. She had a question for you. So I'm going to get it. What song do you want to do that you haven't done yet?
Ooh, good question. I don't know if it's like necessarily a song. I absolutely love Coldplay, and I've been wanting to cover one of their songs for quite a while now, actually, but I haven't been able to find sort of the right things to go with it, or like, I don't know. I always like, I keep not like putting it off, but I keep being like, I need to find a different song that goes with it. I spend like so much time trying to like, mash it up with something, and I haven't found the right song yet, to go with like some of the Coldplay songs that I want to do. So that's definitely like one of the things that would be coming up that I hope I can figure out soon. But it's definitely a process.
Well, that's actually a great segue into the question I have is, how do you choose your mashups? How do you choose what song works? I mean, it seems like a complex process. You could either win or lose. The combination could suck. Do you play around with it?
Absolutely. I have a list of songs, like mashup ideas that I just like randomly get. If I'm listening to a song on the radio, or if I'm just like showering, I don't know. And I just like write them all down. And then, when it's like time to do like the next video or the next song, I sort of look through that list and see like what can I do? And there have been so many times where I've spent like, Shankar and I would spend like 2 or 3 days on a song. And then like at the end of the third day of like seriously like nonstop working on it, we would just realize that this sucks and we can't do it. Like even I usually like only pick songs that I like to sing. That's like a really like, strict rule that I have, because I feel like people aren't fooled. If you don't like the song, then, your emotion doesn't show through and all that stuff. So I always feel like, yeah, I don't know. It can be like a hit or miss sometimes. You just have to make sure they're both in the right scale. So like either major or minor, and the tempos are like similar. So those are the two sort of parameters that I usually look for in songs, and like, or if like I can push the tempo like a little bit slower or faster for a song, then that would work. But yeah, no, it's a lot of experimentation, and there are a lot of failed projects, as many as there are like successful ones.
I can't believe. So you'll work on something for many, many days, and you guys will just chuck it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Cause if I'm not like feeling it, and if I don't 100% love it, I just like don't release it, because it's like, there's no point. I feel like if I can't stand behind like something that I release and like, I 100% love this. Also, like, it's complicated because, with YouTube, as amazing as it is, and it's so great to share, your work on it, it also has like immediate feedback. And, lots of people don't have like lots of nice things to say. A lot of people do, but a lot of people don't. And, it's like, where do you draw the line of like, sort of like taking into like other people's opinions into consideration? I usually like don't read comments anymore. I try not to, because it like messes my head. But, when I do, I always try, like if I can stand behind a song and I'm confident that I absolutely love it and I've put in all my blood, sweat, and tears into it. And, so then it doesn't affect me. Like if other people hate it or whatever, because I love it, and it's personal and it's subjective. Music is so relative and subjective, and some people are not going to like some things and some people are going to like, other things. So, it's like a very, yeah. So that's actually like one of the biggest rules. It's like, I will truck it if I can't stand behind it and absolutely love it,
Guys, there are a few lessons in that. One, stand behind what you're representing. Definitely. But two, be careful about being online. I so agree with you. The online is a blessing and a curse. People can be amazing and people can quickly turn on you.
Absolutely. Right.
Unfortunately.
I mean, it's unfortunate. And I feel like if I try, like if I'm a little bit experimental or, or like, all the ones who really like the song or, sometimes they don't even comment. So it's like, you don't really get like a real feedback.
No, that's true.
So it's all like the trolls or the haters and the people are like, oh, I don't like it. And it's like, that's okay if you don't like something because I like it and it's like subjective. So you don't, you don't have to listen to it if you don't like it. It's like definitely, yeah, like you basically can't pay attention to that anymore.
Well, I think to your point, yeah, you're never going to please everyone, but at the same time, and if you're listening to this, please pay attention. There's a way to say things. It's called constructive criticism. You don't have to attack someone if you don't like it. If it's not your cup of tea, keep moving.
Exactly. Right. If you don't like it, it's fine. If you don't like my experimentation or a take on a song, it's fine because that's why it's my take on it. If you want to do your own take on it, go for it. Like, it's kind of like what?
Sure. And many amazing artists have come from experimentation and standing behind what they do. I mean, we wouldn't have such amazing artists and classical artists of our times if they hadn't gone outside their own comfort zone. So you keep doing what you are doing because you have, I looked on your YouTube site, you have probably 25 music videos on there. I'm sure you have some on other channels as well. Of those, how many would you say you've chucked? A range.
Yeah, let me see. Probably equal amount, actually, or maybe a little bit more. Yeah, I like for every song that I release, there's probably like 2 or 3 that I've chucked.
But you kept going. That's amazing.
If something doesn't work, I take a walk, I take a break from it, I watch Netflix or whatever I need to do, like go to the gym or whatever, and then come back to it the next day. And then if I still hate it, then I chuck it, and then I'm like, new. Brent, got to start from scratch again. And that's okay. It's a process. And I think it's teaching me a lot about what I like. And I've gotten a little bit faster at it, actually. So now I will know completely, like sort of from the beginning. So I don't have to spend like 3 days work trying to make it work. Like if it doesn't work in the first like day-ish, then I'm just like, no, I can't. It's a little bit different with like original music though, because original music, I'm still trying to find what's like that happy medium between, like the East and West kind of thing. And I need to like still like, that's been a little bit of a challenge recently. And yeah, so I'm just working on it, and see how it'll happen. So I have a big bunch of songs. I'm sure a bunch of them are not going to make it on the album, but you know what? All good. It's a process.
I don't think there are too many artists that can say that all their songs made it onto a record. I don't think,
I'm pretty sure. I remember reading something about Beyonce's, like her self-titled album, not Lemonade, but the one right before it. And I think she had like a crazy amount of songs. It was like 40 or 50, or maybe even actually like maybe more. Maybe it was like 80. And she was and like 15 or 17 made it, and so it's like, yeah. So I feel like everyone goes through that process. And I think a part of it is also like liberating sort of the way you write, because I feel like you should be able to write without, consequences, without being like, oh, what is this person going to think? Or what is it? It's like about you. And I feel like when you do that, you end up like finding the right song that you like that then can make it on the album,
Absolutely. I mean, you've picked the right songs already with your mashups. I can't wait to hear your original songs.
Yeah. I'm like also a little bit of like an experimental mood. And like, I'm really into like sort of alternative kind of, going into like a little bit of EDM, but then alternative kind of music. So I don't know. I'm starting to get a little bit more experimental online as well, as opposed to, like it's nice to have like a feel good mashup, but it's also nice to like push the borders a little bit for myself and see like what works and what doesn't. So yeah. Have you actually put a deadline on yourself for recording or anything? Or are you just kind of taking it as it comes? Right now I have like a very loose deadline of sometime next like sort of like late winter. So I'm going to say like February. I kind of want to like finish, like, yeah, I don't know. I'm in the process of like Shankar is composed like a bunch of it. And like, I've also composed some stuff. And yeah, I mean, we're sort of in the process of writing right now. And I feel like if I put a deadline, it's going to stress me out a lot. So I'm just like letting it come as it, or taking it as it comes.
Yeah, just kind of let it flow. See what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
So of all the videos you've made, whether it be on your channel or someone else's, which mashup is your favorite?
Ooh, you know what? That's like a very difficult question.
I know it's like the favorite child question, but we will not hold it against you because they all are great songs, but you still got to pick one.
Let's see. Okay, maybe I can pick one in like different situations. So I love singing the Dive Deep, Tujh Mein Rab Dikhta Hai mashup live. Actually, I love singing that live. It's so beautiful. Like we have a little bit of a different arrangement for it live. Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs, definitely, to perform live. But I also like the boat song a lot because it was really cool because we like all the English lyrics and the tune of like all the English parts, like the melodies, like Shankar and I wrote them. And it was really cool that people sort of like still like liked it, with that original, with the traditional boat song that we'd remixed it with. And I really like performing that live too, because it's just like a fun song. So yeah, I want to say that would be probably my favorites.
Winner. Yes, that was mine. Yeah. So I'm from
Cool.
Kerala, so I'm a little biased in that sense, but it is a beautiful song. Thank
you. Yeah, it was awesome. I feel like that was also one of those songs that just happened really spontaneously. We wrote it. We were in Kerala, we were in Cochin, and we were like, oh, we should really do like the Kerala boat song. And I had, sort of heard it growing up as well, because I'm not like half Kerala, but I'm fully Tamil, but my entire family is from Palakkad. So I speak like Palakkad Tamil and like
no worries.
And Malayalam. I'm really bad at speaking Malayalam, actually.
That's right. That's the one I can do. So
it's the one you can
we'll make up for it.
Terrible Malayalam. I can't. I can understand a little bit, but my grandmother and mom speak it fluently. So I visited Kerala as a kid. Like my entire family are like devotees of Mata Amritanandamayi, the hugging saint. So we used to visit her ashram when we were kids. And they used to sing the song. And so Shankar and I were like, we should do this song. And then we really couldn't find anything, like we didn't think anything else did like justice because it's such a traditional song. And we're like, we didn't know what else could mash it up with. So we just wrote our own tune, like literally in a day, not even a day. It took like a couple hours. So yeah, it was really fun.
If it wasn't for the fact that you are also South Indian, I would have been like, wait, you just happen to be in Kerala. Nobody really says that. Kerala deserves all the praise, though. It is gorgeous, as you can see from her music video. So it was you, Shankar, and Jomi George, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
he's from Cochin, actually. Yeah.
And I mean, you did the video there too.
Yeah, we did. That's the entire thing. We literally did the song, I'm not even kidding, like in 24 hours. And then Jomi, the two dancers in the video, those are his childhood friends' wives. Which was like a really cool thing. And so he had like because we shot it near his hometown in Cochin. It was like a little bit outside, like, in one of the villages there, I think. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, and they like sort of knew all the good spots. And it was like this gorgeous, like, like river, like backwaters spot. And yeah, then we shot it there within like a few hours. And so they had like choreographed the dance. They also did the dance like just within like a day because we'd given them the track. And yeah, it was really cool the way it came together. It was really, is awesome. Everyone worked really hard.
It is a beautiful song. Guys, if you want to see the beauty of Kerala, definitely check out the video. Also because it's a great song. But fun fact, I was watching it the other day and Superwoman commented on your video. Lily Singh.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's really sweet. I actually, So yeah, as I mentioned, I don't read comments really. So, but I think someone found it and like told me, I think it might have been Shankar actually. And he was like, wait, Superwoman's out. She's really cool. I've met her at, a few YouTube fan fests like in India. And yeah, she's super cool and totally repping South Asians. And yeah, she's awesome. I love her videos. She's hilarious.
Yeah. If the fact that Superwoman loved it, it's beautiful scenery. Over 3.5 million people have watched that video. It doesn't stop you. You're never going to watch it. Those are all amazing reasons. But Vidya, before we let you go, so you can go on to create amazing music, because clearly I'm stopping you from doing that.
No.
We try to wrap up our interviews with what is one thing you would recommend to someone who's chasing their dream like you are?
Ooh, one thing. I want to say there's no shortcut to hard work. Actually, there's no shortcut to like hustling and putting in your time at something. And, and it's all, and like also always remember like why you started. I feel like I always have to go back and, if there's something, if something doesn't go my way or, if there are haters online or whatever. And I'm always like, I have to go back to the fact that why am I doing this? You have to be very passionate about what you do. And it always has to be about that one thing, whatever it is, that's your cup of tea. It has to be that has to be the focus. And I feel like that I've like seen it happen in my own personal life. Like if you focus on that, then everything else will fall into place.
Well, I think you're living that example. And guys, take Vidya as an example for sure and do what she's doing. Because really you're living your dreams and it's amazing to see. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story and being an example to others.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been so nice speaking with you and, like talking about like my journey. It's awesome. I don't get to do it very often. So thanks.
And that was Vidya Vox taking some time out of her life, making music to share her story, which is very inspiring and something I hope inspires you as well. Wish her nothing but the best. You guys should definitely check out her YouTube channel. All the links that we mentioned today, including her YouTube channel and my top 5 favorite music videos of hers, including the Kerala Boat song, which you should be checking out, is all on the show notes page over at chasingdreamshq.com/episode 57. That's episode 57. Until next time, guys, keep chasing.
Thank you so much for listening to Chasing Dreams. Aimee would love to connect with you and hear all about your pursuit of chasing your dreams. Connect with her on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram via @ChasingDreamsHQ. Or you can find Aimee on Twitter @AimeeJ21. That's AIMEEJ21. Be sure to visit headquarters over at ChasingDreamsHQ.com for more inspiration, motivation, and resources to help with your own dream chase. We hope you'll join Aimee next week, and until then, keep chasing.